It's Jimothy. Week 9 of SPL, Mako versus Conflict. Let's get into it. We've got a Tyranitar. Conflict goes to Skarmory. And Mako with an Earthquake. Not a commonly seen play. I guess that tells us something. Mako probably has a Tyranitar that's bulkier. That can live various things an enemy Tyranitar could do to it. That's intel. We've got a Cloyster entering, trying to get a leg up in the Spike war. But it's on a clock now. This Cloyster vs Skarm 1v1 situation here is often awkward because Cloyster, it does have rapid spin, but often gets put on a clock by the Toxic, and there's Gengar mind games, but does land the spin. Skarm can, of course, just keep respiking, but Mako ahead here in the war. Gonna lose Cloyster in the process long term. But, I mean, relatively even now. Landing a Thunderbolt on Skarm, that's good chip. Opting to Roar, actually, rather than establishing the third layer. Makes sense that the Jirachi could be Calm Mind and run away with things if given too many turns. You play it safe, you Roar immediately, just see what the heck it wants to do. First off, plus you got Spikes down, you might create an advantageous situation for yourself following a Roar. And a lucky burn there from Mako on the Starmie. It does have Natural Cure, so not catastrophic, but that extra chip is relevant. That is nice. And especially when you have a Blissey entry and that earns even more chip from that burn. With 2 Spikes on the field, this Starmie is looking very low, and it's going to fall. It gets the spin on the way out, but Spinner is officially gone for Conflict. Interesting. I mean, Conflict is still pretty happy here. Ahead in the Spike War, it takes ages for Cloyster to return back on the field, make those spikes again. It's under pressure itself and gets a crucial focus punch on that incoming Swampert. Could that represent an Aerodactyl in the back to a bit of a beatdown Swampert game plan? Focus punch on the Tyranitar, often emblematic of such a thing, but not necessarily 100%. We'll have to see how things shake out. Going Gengar once and going back to Tar on the Blissey. And this isn't a good spot. You can punch again if you dare. You didn't. You Rock Slide this time, Probs. Yeah, I mean, it's still adding up chip damage on this Swampert here. Big chip damage. The Swampert should throw out an attack, I would assume. Yeah, just an Ice Beam. Chip Gengar is relevant. Oh, Mako's getting some good luck with these secondary effects, folks. With a honestly, a potentially game-winning freeze right there. That's enormous. At full health, Gengar is now frozen. Hopefully that can thaw out and we can have a game on our hands. Conflict's still ahead on the Spikes, though, which is often the biggest thing. Even getting Gengar frozen is not as impactful as these Spikes. You forced out Tar, and I mean, you're relatively healthy. You're looking pretty good. Mako trying to get Cloyster in to make spikes once again, and it's in on the frozen Gengar. That's ideal. Is Conflict's going to try and thaw here? Yes. Okay, well. This is what Cloyster needs to make spikes. It needs to freeze a Gengar and then pivot in on it. Mako actually concerned with the thawing out. Goes for Ice Beam chip rather than establishing layers. Okay, actually just establishes layers that time. Chipping the Gengar a bit is useful for certain. It's a bit awkward to get the guy. Conflict not thawing is a bit unlucky, I gotta say. There's a decent chance, 20% flat chance to thaw in Gen 3. It doesn't increment, but and there's a HP Grass Jirachi, which is going to be able to 2-hit this Tyranitar. But now we know the set a bit more. We get more intel. Probably no substitute if you got HP Grass, or it could be Thunderbolt Grass subs. Oh, it is! I didn't expect that. That's a slightly unorthodox coverage combo for sub Jirachi. So this is now in a pretty Pretty good spot. I mean, the thing is that without Psychic or Ice Punch, the Blissey 1v1 can be awkward. Even if you make 101 health subs and they can't be broken by Toss, you're not doing much damage. Like, look, that's a 22% on Thunderbolt. So Blissey can just do 2 Seismic Tosses here. The leftovers healing is not really enough, and the damage output is not enough. What you have to rely on is a Para chance, which is 20%. So I don't love Jirachi's odds here. I think if Mako got the Para chance and some good fortune, that might be illegal. Because, I mean... I think you could hear someone mowing the lawn outside. I apologize for that. That's how we go in this world. That's how things happen. Everyone's got to mow their lawn from time to... Anyway, back to the game. A figurative mowing of the lawn with this Jirachi. Get it out of here. So eliminate the weeds, you know? Toss them away with Seismic Toss. Conflict went for a heal in the interim period there. That's interesting. Does this line up better? You toss and then toss, and it KOs after the lefties? If so, Conflict is genius for squeezing in that wish. If the toss KOs here, I got to give Conflict props for the planning there. There's a toss getcha. That's brilliant. That was a nice way to squeeze in one wish and have your Blissey slightly higher health. I would have just tossed. I would not have done the math. But Conflict needs all the help he can get at this point. The DD Tar should be handled by Swampert still. Should still be okay. Sack Tar get the Swampert entry. Yeah, it's totally healthy. It even leftovers chip heals a little bit. Hopefully you don't miss Hydro Pump or anything crazy. Conflict doesn't want to risk it. Goes for the Earthquake. And also doesn't risk protecting. Creating an opportunity for a Dragon Dance mind game. We don't want to F around. Oh, no, no. I wonder if Conflict could create a situation where the Salaman's flamethrowers and thaws out his Gengar. You could go Skarm here, bait a flamethrower and go Gengar, but Mako might be able to play around such a thing anyway. The HB Grass crit is actually a little annoying there because that was a pretty nice little... One extra chance to thaw. Didn't get it. Didn't get it. I think Conflict can still win this, though. The Brick Break won't KO this. Blissey can stomach this one. And get an Ice Beam. You're going to heal, in fact. Oh, it does not have Ice Beam. It doesn't, I think. Oh, it could be Ice Beam last. It could be a status move, too. I thought it was Ice Beam last. If it's not Ice Beam last, you're in trouble. I hope it's at least Thunder Wave. That would be... I would say that's unlikely. A weird set. Toss Thunder Wave. Maybe you do have Ice Beam and you just want to heal here. Squeeze in that extra 3% every time. But, I mean, there's crit chances. It's rough. It is rough. Healing more. You're up to 75. I'll give you props. But there's a 6.25% chance that it all comes crashing down. Conflict. And there it is. If you had Ice Beam, I think you should have clicked it. But I don't know if you did have Ice Beam. I think you would have clicked it if you did. So I'll say you didn't have Ice Beam. Probably. And, okay, Skarm can live this. And Toxic. And then the Swampert can solo. You just land the Toxic. Maybe you should have done this earlier. If you could have squeezed this in earlier. And then the Blissey heal looping would have been better. But I don't know if Mako would have allowed such a thing. Toxic's still a good click versus everything anyway. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to criticize this. It's a rough game for Conflicts. I'm just thinking of different paths possible. There could be... The fact that you burned this also is so... is insanely rough. The fact that you also burned the Skarm right here. And what am I talking about? The Swampert can make it happen. It's on 15%. My mistake. You can get a quintuple protect real quick. A quick quintuple protect will do it for you. I hope this is a speed tie for your sake, Conflict. I hope so. I think it's not. I think you're slower than the enemy Swampert. It's your lucky day, Conflict. It really... Oh, you lived. You lived. Okay, quick quintuple protect on the Salamence, and you stall it out. No worries at all. It's insanely doable. You don't even understand, folks. It's as doable as it's ever been. We protect... The minus attack, though. How do you beat Blissey? Nah. If there's a will, there's a way. You freeze the Blissey. Or you crit Earthquake. The double protect. I think... Is it gone after the Sand Chip? It could be. If there's a miracle, there's a Monday. That's what I've always said. One more protect for the road. No, of course not. Well, insanely rough game conflicts. You tried, that's... Sometimes that's what happens. Not only the freeze on Gengar, that was bad enough. The flamethrower burn ×2. The crit on Blissey. That one, you can't complain as much about. They were heal looping, but... I mean, what's to be done? Maybe one of them you could have gone Skarm on the Brick Break, protect up, Toxic the guy, sack something, get Blissey back in here. But then you take too much spikes, probably. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was a way, probably not. Especially with the Silt in the Wound, the burn at the end. We hate to see. The Skarm might have been able to continue protect stalling, actually, and at least eliminate the Salamence. Maybe Toxic the Swampert. Still a chance there. But the burn was crazy. Okay. See you, folks.